forth a more artsy attitude. I have put forth a fake accent and a mustache made out of electrical tape. Yes, let us start with one of those generic 100-level philosophy course questions. What is art? This painting is art.
Except for this big, ugly, gaping hole.
This background music is art. This book is art. Just look at these wonderfully constructed words.
And last but not least, language can be considered a form of art. Let's think about how that could possibly be for the moment. Think about all the different sounds that humans can make using their mouth. And before you start going off on tangents, I want you to specifically think about consonant and vowel sounds that people use when they speak languages. Think of the English language, think of foreign languages, think of the German word euch. The at the end of the word euch isn't something that you hear in English, but somebody came across that sound, somebody figured out that they could make the sound, and somebody decided to utilize the sound in the word euch, which I forget what it means, and if I can go on to Google Translate over here, I can see what it means. Let's go from German to English, and we'll type in E-U-C-H, U, so euch, euch. Sounds very Fiddler on the Roofish, for lack of better terms. And think about humans came about these different vowel and consonant sounds and decided to put them together creatively to create words that may have reflected what they saw or were trying to describe. Let's start with something classic. Let's start with the word stick. Think of a wooden stick that has fallen from a tree. It used to be a branch. Also, if you want to think about the verbal origin of the word branch, you may as well, but let's stick with the word stick. There is one theory that one could create as to how the word stick got its name in relevance to the wooden thing that comes off of the tree. Looking at it from a historical aspect, it seems as if the word stick came from the Old English word sticka, and that word came from the Proto-Germanic word stick on. So even in that mindset, how does sticka, or stick on relate to this? How does it relate to that wooden thing that comes off of a tree? It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Well, I suppose in the art of naming things, which people don't really do that much these days because we've found a lot of things already, and if we do find something new, we tend to give it names based upon something that we already know. Let's say we found a purple frog, which we did back in, I think, 2004. We found the first purple frog. We didn't call it anything new like Michko or a Blabgosh. We called it a purple frog. It was a frog that was purple. Now, we have the word toad, but if we discovered, I feel like if we discovered toads more recently, we wouldn't call them toads. We would call them large frogs or behemoth frogs or something like that. But we would permutate words that we already had, and we would put them together, and we wouldn't come up with something as creative as toad. Toad in itself is a bit of a creative word. It's not, it flows well, and like Michko, I think that's what I used. I don't think that really is a creative word. I guess it is a creative word, but it sounds like it's a Eastern European last name. It doesn't really sound like anything that I would call a purple frog or a blubchka. All these things sound Eastern European. I don't know. I just can't get out of the Eastern European affiliate.
You are not going to see my face anymore because I'm recording solo, and it would be difficult for me to do that. But anyway, here we have empirical evidence of the first usage of the word invisible. But who comes here? I am invisible is from A Midsummer Night's Dream by William Shakespeare, and the character that says that is Oberon. This is the first usage of the word, and it is a permutation invention of a word. Comes from visible and the prefix in, which can mean not. Yes, it can. This frog creature right here that you see, I am going to call him a hedge frog, because he looks like a frog, just clear from the heads and the feet, and he's got very hedgy, bushy body, torso parts, yes. And finally, this here bracelet is both pink and black, and as you can see, the pink and black merge together. I am going to call this Mubden. The fact that it is pink and black and the pink merge together like so. Why do I think it should be called Mubden? No particular reason at all. Well, yes, there is a particular reason, and that I think it sounds very good. I think it fits it in the same way that tree fits tree and branch fits branch and stick fits stick. I think Mubden fits this. The state of this.
Our purpose here is to encourage you guys to become aware of languages, to become aware of the different symbolic meanings that could possibly be behind them. I encourage you guys to create your own words either by permutation, such as what Shakespeare did with the word invisible, or by what I, as of now, like to call Zen sense. See, I just made up a word through permutation to describe a word that is to be the forming of a word not based on permutation. Zen sense is taking in the zen that you feel from the object that you want to describe and using that zen to create the new word, like what I did with Mubden. There are some cow udders that are also Mubden, and the same could go for strawberry ice cream with really dark chocolate syrup that appears to be black, or just basically dark chocolate syrup. It doesn't necessarily have to be black, I don't think. But as long as it's pink and black or close to black, I think it can be considered a Mubden. I can probably never use the words Zen-sense or Mubden when speaking to strangers without defining it first, unfortunately. Unless I do lots of advertising for them. But I can use them for myself and other people who care to hear. My friends, my family, etc. Language and communication doesn't always have to be about the larger audience. Certainly it's good to be able to talk within people's frames of reference when you're talking to people who you're not best friends with or anything like that, but it's good to better communicate with yourself. Like if you're taking down notes and you think that maybe Zen sense is a good word to use to describe what the professor's talking about, take that down. That's like important stuff. If you have a word to describe this for your own understanding, then that's great. Utilize it. There are some pretty complicated terms and notions that exist, and the English language doesn't have words for all of them. So why should we stop at the dictionary?